Hello, my name is Bob McCauley and I'm a raw foodist and a promoter of ionized water, spirulina and chlorella, two types of algae, the strongest foods in the world. And I promote extra minerals because that's the only minerals that are really healthy for the body. And I also promote probiotics, the friendly bacteria. You can also get that from fermented foods. And vigorous exercise. I'm a runner, I'm a Taekwondo instructor. Vigorous exercise each and every day, 20 to 30 minutes. And it goes always maintaining a positive mental attitude, no matter how sick you are, how many problems you might have, whether they're for physical or social reasons, doesn't matter. Keep that positive mental attitude, you'll always be a healthy person. So one of the main ways I do that, of course, is to live almost exclusively on raw fruits and vegetables. I have some fruit in my diet. I got to watch my sugar intake, don't want too much of that. If I do take any sugar, I always take greens with it, in particular spirulina and chlorella, because they have the protein and the chlorophyll, so it allows the sugar to go into the bloodstream at a very regulated rate. So anyway, what I want to do today is show you how cheap it is to be a raw foodist, and what I've done in my house. I mean, I've got an acre of property here, but it's just anybody can do it in a lot less. I'm only using just a very small percentage of my property to feed myself almost exclusively through the summer for almost nothing. I just started this about six weeks ago, and here it is all ready for my dinner. Mustard, it tastes just like what you would think. It is it's a mustard. There's different varieties that I use, but also in here, these are topping out. If you get close, see, that's begun to top out. That's going to turn into a flower. So some of these I'll let become flowers. Others I won't. This is arugula. It's my favorite food. People call me the Arugula King because any farm where they grow arugula or whatever, and they rotate it and they put it in different places, I can hunt it out like one of those pigs hunts out the truffles. There's more arugula. I got some, this is clove. This just comes up naturally, so I throw that in my salads, of course. I throw everything in my salad. This is watercress. Watercress, so it won't get very tall, but it'll flower very, very quickly. A lot of this is already flowering. The arugula is flowering. But again, I only did this 6 weeks ago. Over here we have broccoli. It came up a little slower than the rest of the stuff. So I'll be cutting those, and then as it gets bigger, it begin to flower, and I'll eat each part of the plant. Really gives you different parts of a different set of nutrients. So the root is one thing, the leaves are another, the flowers are another. So each one's going to have a different set of nutrients. A couple things like beets, they're very high in oxalic acid, and then of course I'm going to show you over here. I've got some rhubarb. That's extremely high in oxalic acid, really bad for you. Don't ever eat rhubarb leaves, but you can eat the stems. That's okay. This I planted just about a week ago, maybe 10 days. This is some kale. Here's some more mustard. Here's some chia. I've got probably about 30 different variety of seeds I've just already thrown out. And this whole thing, I'm going to feed myself the entire, all the way through November for probably less than $20, maybe $30 tops on all the seeds that I'm going to buy. And you think about that, and it's all organic. Down here, this, because of the sun, has come up even better. But this is a more broccoli and a little bit of mustard and mostly kale. But that's all been coming up. I've got some over here in the spring. And right next to it, of course, we have basil. That's one of my favorites. And this one came up from last year. See, I've got a lot of it that just seeds that were there, or they flowered. I let it go to flower and produce the seeds, and then I get organic seeds. And it's cost me a well here, so I'm really, really lucky. If you're not on a well, there's lots of solutions to water. I think a lot of people are scaring people about tap water. Not everybody in the country has the same kind of tap water, but I have a well. I'm actually 215 feet down here. I draw the water up and I filter it through a set of filters in my house, and then so the water is essentially free for me. I just got to. Now this I planted about a week ago and has just begun to come up. You can see a couple of sprouts. I've got about 10 different foods in here, all come up from seeds, the ones I've mentioned before: the onion, the garlic, the broccoli, cabbage, radish. I just soaked the seeds, and some of them began to sprout, and I threw them out. But I just throw them out, I spread them, and then I just cover them over lightly with dirt and make sure I've got a little bit of grass on top so it holds the water in. And that's just, and I tilled up the soil very well. I did use a little bit of organic fertilizer, but not very much because I've been doing this 15 years here, so, you know, a lot of nutrients. This is more kale. Now this I did a few weeks ago. This I did a few weeks ago. This one here, this came up from last year planting, so it'll get new generation. Arugula, for instance, is better later in the year, planted like July. You'll get some huge arugula stalks. I mean, it's just amazing. And then, of course, you can take that, cut it up, put some apple cider vinegar in it, and then, you know, you just have, you know, wonderful tasting apple cider vinegar with all the nutrients of the arugula or the chia or whatever you do. Then here's nasturtiums. This is one of my favorite plants. That's the round ones. They're going to produce all these colorful flowers. They taste like watercress. Really incredible. And this is the way I eat all year. This one here, this one here is French sorrel. Looking a little pale, but it'll green up in the sun here over the next week. And each one of these beds you see here is more seeds. You see broccoli seeds all spread through. You see cabbage seeds all spread through. Here's lettuce about halfway through this one. Beets is down on this one. Some other different types of lettuce. And I'm going to take that lettuce and I'm going to eat it very young. And but that lettuce, a lot of people say, well, it doesn't have any nutrition in it. Well, I always say that myself because it's so watery. I don't like lettuce. But if you have it bolt up and it turns into a flower, wow, that stuff is some incredibly powerful stuff. So grass on it, it'll come up. And in between the rows, what I've done is throw, like in between the two tomato rows here, I've thrown some more seeds that'll come up, and that'll provide more cover, so I don't have to worry about, you know, this drying out or anything. Down in Anderson. Over in this area, this is a really old part of the garden. All you're looking at here, this is all oregano. I have oregano that's been here 15 years, so it's considered wild at this point, and I've never touched it. And it just comes up, and this is some of the most powerful and wonderful oregano you'll ever have in your life. It's just really gorgeous stuff. And really, I can just put, you know, maybe half a handful in one of my salads. Yellow, but it's not yellow, it's lemon balm. Here's the dreaded rhubarb, but again, if you're going to eat it, you can eat the stalk. This is wild. It's been coming up over here for years and years and years, so I personally don't eat too much of it. If I do, I'm going to eat some of the stem, and especially as you get in the lower part of the stem, it gets a little softer, a little more tasty. And that's some mint of some sort. It's natural or it's wild. It's always around. I usually have land. And over here, I planted this many, many years ago, 15 years ago. This one here, one of my all-time favorites, is tarragon. And again, you just chop that up and put it in your salads. I actually planted a lot of dill. So, you know, I even planted tarragon seeds. I planted basil seeds. So I'm going to get a whole bunch of different things that I usually don't grow because, you know, health is all about making sure it's raw and variety. Great variety of fruits and vegetables. Over here, all I've done in here is all this is nasturtiums. This is all nasturtiums. Of course, we have our food staple, the delicacy or the bane of anyone who has a lawn, the dandelion. So either you hate them and you want to spray them. We spend over $1 billion a year to kill dandelions. One of the healthiest foods you can possibly eat. Amazing. It's an atrocity. Okay, there's one more I'm going to show you. Of course, I got rose bushes. You can eat roses. I always eat them. They're not that tasty, but they are very good for you. You know, what chemical nutrient? People ask me this. What chemical nutrient? What enzyme does a raw, you know, rose flower have? I don't know. It doesn't matter. You know, you want to get into it, go look it up. It'll give you all of the chemical breakdown of it and everything. I've got a book that lists every, you know, basically any food you can think of, and it breaks it down to all its chemical constituents. And you know, it's interesting to look at. But so, what are you going to do with that? Your body knows what to do with the food when a raw food, when you put it into your body. A cooked foods, it doesn't know what to do with it, so it just passes it. There's hardly any nutrients there. But a raw food, all these chemical substances and enzymes and everything are just the body knows exactly what to do. Last but not